Good morning, guys, and welcome to our webinar. I haven't seen you guys in a while, and it's good to be back. Things have been hectic on my side. We are doing so much to improve IT Varsity. There's a whole slew of new qualifications that are coming out, and we are doing an upgrade on many of our old qualifications. As I might have explained to you before, we do an annual upgrade on each one of our courses. Now, I learned this from other universities and colleges where I had the opportunity to teach at, and they were doing precisely not this. So what they were doing was basically to create something and then just keep using it over and over and over again for decades. In fact, at the one college that I worked at, and this must have been about 7 years ago, the material that was written for the IT faculty, for the IT courses, was made in the early 1990s. So they were speaking about things like fax machines and some other technologies that are obsolete, like pages and things like that. And people were actually paying for those courses. So when I saw all of that, I made a firm commitment that I'm not going to, when I start an institute of my own, I'm never going to do that. In fact, the one college that I taught at, I don't want to mention names. I'm tempted to mention names, but I don't want to. The learning materials were so bad, so badly written, that other than being outdated, it was actually incoherent. And so what I did was I had a PDF of the notes as a lecturer, and I copied paragraphs from there, and I placed it into the search box on Google, and I searched them up. And I found that word for word, verbatim, the person who created this content just copied chunks of the internet and placed it in there. This guy had a doctorate, a PhD. He was a lecturer at another university, and he wrote content for the university that I was teaching at. And so when I looked at the poor quality of this content, I went up to the academic head and I said, look, I cannot teach this. This is terrible. This is disgusting, basically. So he asked me to rewrite the content. And up till today, they are still using the set books that I wrote, the textbooks that I wrote for the institute. So that's what we've been busy with. We've been upgrading at IT Varsity. And as you also know, that our instructors, well, your instructors, these are Jedi Knights. These are not some guy sitting with some theory that he got out of a textbook. I mean, you met Mubin, and in the next couple of weeks, those of you who are doing the React, you will meet your React instructor. He's going to be on my webinar. It's just that scheduling them is hard because these are very, very busy people. Those of you who are doing Python, you will meet your Python instructor, and you'll see the depth of knowledge and experience these people have. So I personally handpicked all of these people, and I got them to create content, obviously under my supervision as an instructional designer. That's the role I'm playing now. We are coming out with a data science qualification later this year. There are 2 instructors, both of whom have been working for Walmart for the last 10, 12 years. Cybersecurity, the guy that's going to be teaching cybersecurity is a hacker, was a hacker. And now he's doing, he's a cybersecurity expert for a company. So you see what I'm getting at. Everybody is using education as a way to make easy money. We are going the hard way, the hard route. We are finding people who are very expensive on an hourly basis, but who have the experience to catapult you from zero to your career. And they will also have the experience. And this is the point of what I want to tell you today, because I've been doing a lot of research about this. For those of you who saw my last week's podcast on YouTube, it was entitled The Art of Effing Up. I didn't want to say the real F word because my mother watches those videos. She watches my videos. So I don't want to use the real F word there. So it was called The Art of Effing Up. And what each one of your instructors is going to tell you over and over again, and these are like Jedi Knights. These guys have been in the industry long enough. And the one thing common about all of them is that they've messed up a lot of times. They've made mistakes. They've taken steps forward and have to take sometimes 2 steps back in their careers, in their work. And it's those mistakes that made them the people they are. I came across a story, and I'll get to my point. I came across a story where a reporter asked a very successful business person, how come you are so successful? He said, by making the right decisions. So he said, how did you learn to make the right decisions? He said, through experience. So the reporter asked him, how do you get experience? So he said, by making the wrong decisions, mistakes. And so mistakes are part of growing. If you went in a linear path, if somebody claims they went in a linear path from zero to success, they are lying, because that almost never happens. That's the law of the universe, right? Those are things that we cannot control. I've been a software engineer. I've made mistakes in my career. I've been a business person. I've made mistakes as a business person, and that's the way things are. Sometimes you have to pivot. Sometimes you have to backtrack. Sometimes you have to change. And that happens. So what I want to tell you is, and here's my point, it's this, that IT Varsity and everything that I teach you guys and your instructors will teach you, and all the guests that we are going to bring on the webinar, we've got so many lined up over the next few months. The one thing you learn from all of them is this. Number one, there is no linear path to success. All these guys on social media, and you need to be careful of them. The guys on LinkedIn and on YouTube and on TikTok and Instagram, the guys that talk a language like this, do these 5 things and you will succeed. Focus on this on LinkedIn and your business will be like mine, making $1 million a year or 10 million or $20 million a year. You see, when guys tell you things like that, it's a lie. It's a catch, it's bait. They're baiting you so that you think that, and subliminally you'll think that these guys, what they are saying is the truth, and then you want to buy whatever product they're selling. Or they'll say, learn this and you will ace your Java interview. It's all lies, right? Be careful of that. There's no easy path. There's no linear path. And my path to success and your path to success are completely different. Remember that, because you have a different approach. You have a different vision. You have a different dream compared to me. You will have a different business you're working for, or a different employer, different manager. And so you will have to navigate those waters on your own. It's something I teach my kids, and it's something that I'm teaching you guys. Right. So having said that, right, you need to understand what are the most basic, foundational, fundamental things that you need to know to succeed in your career. And you know that when for those of you who have done my modules on the qualifications, you'll notice that I teach you foundational aspects, and then I teach you to build on top of that. I never start at the top. So you learn basically HTML tables or HTML divs, and then I'll show you all the things that you can do with a table or with a div. Now in life, it's something like that. You get foundational principles that you can learn to succeed in your career. First and foremost, although we don't teach this enough at IT Varsity, the first thing is the most powerful thing you can learn is emotional intelligence, to control your emotions, because your emotions control you, right? It's either you control them or they'll control you, right? And the reason I'm talking about all this is that there've been a lot of questions coming to me from students and from people on social media asking me for advice. And this is one of the things that I've found. So why do you have to have emotional control? I'll tell you why. Because most people quit what they are doing because they get overcome with emotions, right? So you guys are studying, right? You are currently studying with IT Varsity. I guarantee you at least 20 times a day, you'll think, why am I doing this? This is hard work, especially when the module gets tough, when the instructor is not being very clear, or when you can't really understand stuff. And then you get this worry, am I doing the right thing? Am I on the right path? Am I going to get a job? These are all bubbling up from your emotions, from that emotional state that you are in, and it's perfectly normal. And you will obviously question everything you are doing. You'll question yourself. You'll question whether it's worthwhile. And yet the guy on YouTube is telling you, in 1 hour you can master JavaScript. Study with me, 3 weeks you'll master Java. And then you question yourself, holy crap, is that guy right? Or am I right here? Is this going to take 1 year, or can I do this in 3 weeks, like the guy on YouTube is saying, or 24 hours? Go and search it up on YouTube. You know what I'm talking about. So you have to fight these emotional fights constantly. And for those who can keep their heads above water, in other words, who can control those emotions and channel them in the right way, they will succeed. Not might, they will succeed. Because there was a study done in Silicon Valley across businesses that succeeded in Silicon Valley. And they found the one key to success was the founders stuck at it, no matter what. They stuck at it and they never quit, and then they succeeded. So stick at it, right? Then when you get into your job, trust me, you can get your dream job. Let's say we get you into Amazon, like so many of our past students. But it's not all rosy. It's not all flowers and I don't know, I don't know. I'm trying to use some eloquent terms here. It's not about that, because there are going to be challenges. The day I started my first developer job in Centon, I went there now, almost finished my degree at university. I did well. I did exceptionally well at university. I'm a total nerd. You know that about me. But I sat there and I'm looking around and I'm listening to what the guys are talking. And I was completely lost. I went home that day and I said to my wife, I felt like a preschooler. I really felt like a preschooler, and they treated me like that also. The senior devs, even the guys that were younger than me, I call them senior because they had 3 years, 4 years experience, but they were younger than me. And he looked at me like I'm an idiot, like I'm with absolute disdain. Why? Because, yeah, I knew some Java, what I did at university, but they didn't tell me that at university that they're only teaching me a tiny, tiny subset of Java. I knew nothing about things like GitHub, version control, Maven, dependencies, frameworks. I mean, those of you who are doing Java, you're going to be doing the Spring framework. You're already doing GitHub. You're already, using version control. I knew nothing about that. And so here I was sitting there, totally embarrassed, every day sitting there being embarrassed, not knowing what these guys are talking. And it took me an entire year to just get up to scratch with what was going on at work. So it was tough. it was emotionally draining. There were times that I just wanted to run away, but I stuck with it and it helped. Then there are situations at work where sometimes there's conflict, sometimes you get jacked up by your manager, sometimes you get jacked up by a client, and you have to deal with all this. Now, if you're gonna, every time somebody tells you something and you're gonna lash out again, you're not gonna keep a job. Remember the last job that I was in, I got fired because I called my boss an idiot. And I refused to apologize. But he was an idiot, right? That would credit to myself. The guy was an idiot. But it wasn't right of me to call him that to his face. But anyway, that was a good thing because then I was forced to go back into my business. Then that's what catapulted my business. But you see, you can't just take off with everybody. You have to sit back and introspect and think, what is this person saying? Is this person right? I mean, you guys are my students, but you are also my customers at IT Varsity. You are IT Varsity's customers. So if, for example, Ensley writes a very stern letter to us and say, I'm very unhappy with your service that you're giving me with this and that and that, and it holds back nothing. We can't respond and say, hey, you don't know nothing, you are blah, 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 whatever. We have to think about it. Hey, this is my student. This is a student, this is a client, and this client is not happy. Why? Let's think about it. So you have to control that emotional, that emotion, the instinct to kick back, especially as an entrepreneur, because your business is like your baby, right? So this is key to your success. In fact, my podcast this week on Friday, please listen to my podcast. I mean, I think the most I got was 400 and something views. I want to be like those guys that get 100,000 views and 150,000 views, but I don't think YouTube likes my face. Maybe I don't have a face for video, but you guys can support me and tell your friends about my podcast also. Right. I have to leave by 11:30 because I've got a radio interview. I want to open up for questions now. Ask me anything that is on your mind. Okay, we are getting together after quite long, so I'm sure you've built up some questions. I see Jade has a message. Okay, so Jade wants to know if I would be able to scan her portfolio and give her feedback on her projects. Jade, trust me, I will get around to it. I apologize for the delay, but I will look at every single one of your portfolios. So I will give you feedback shortly. Rumesa says, okay, this is more a statement. Sometimes remembering to tap into emotional intelligence is the hardest part. It is. The emotions are the hardest part. It's what holds you back. Trust me, I'm old enough. All this white hair happened because of the experience. So many young people live young. And for me, everybody's young. It's a mindset. So many people hold themselves back. So many people hold themselves back because they are afraid. I'm 35, I'm 40 years old, I need a career change. Can I do it? No, I can't, I'm scared. Overcome that and see. You'll unleash a superpower inside you. So Jade wants to know, do we ever use these meetings to cover some of the work some of us may not be understanding? In fact, yes, you should. What you should do is, and this is something that we were supposed to be doing, mostly Talha or Naltando would be doing. If there's anything you guys don't understand, and if we find that there is generally a problem in that area, then we do one of two things. One is and this has been evolving over many years now. So we do one of two things. We either address it in the webinar, or we just make a series of videos about it and embed that into the qualification. So, but if you have any questions, if it's of a technical type and you guys need a further explanation, don't hesitate, ask away. I will decide whether there is time to answer in the webinar or afterwards. So Jade, go for it. Zulfikar says, is it possible to arrange a meet and greet for the IT Varsity team? Huh. You mean with you guys and the team? But you're getting to meet us, right, on an individual basis. So let me know more of what you have in mind. William Daniel Maestri, lovely name. Some of our students want to know when will we have the meet and greet meeting? Huh. Was there supposed to be a meet and greet? Tell me about it. Sometimes I'm a bit sort of dense in my head because I got so many things going on. Tell me more about that. Jade feels, I feel the projects of the JS projects of functions could be broken down a bit more. Good point. Let me have a look at that, and I will respond to that. Oh, Noltano said the students will get to meet each other. Okay, yeah, so fantastic. I'll follow up with Noltano. And do you guys mean a physical meetup? Because I mean, you guys are scattered all over the world, right? If you mean a physical meetup, I think there's going to be some flights involved at your cost. I'm joking. I'm guessing it's most likely a virtual meetup. That being said, I will follow up with Noltando about that. In fact, she was supposed to be running this webinar today, but I decided to come on because I'm feeling a bit strongly about this issue of emotional intelligence and about these fake gurus that are out there. It's just been getting to me recently on social media. Okay, so Zulfikar says physical meetups sound better. Look, I don't think that's a bad idea. I think we can, if you guys want, we can do regional meetups. So for example, those of you who are in Cape Town, Durban, Johannesburg, wherever, we can arrange a meetup. Okay, Keenan, you're asking for too much. Keenan wants a braai. So maybe you guys can arrange an informal meetup at a coffee shop or something. That'll be great. I think it will be good for you to have that. In fact, it will be good. I think there is a WhatsApp group where you guys ask each other questions, but a physical meetup occasionally will be great. William Daniel Maestri wants to know, WDM wants to know, does IT Varsity have graduations? Yes, we do. In fact, there's a graduation in 2 weeks' time in Port Elizabeth, which I will be attending. I'm actually looking forward to that. So we have mini graduations across the country periodically. So we have about 2 graduations a year, one in June, one in the December month. Rumesa says, I love the topic today. I actually did my visual presentation on emotional intelligence. Yeah, I'm glad. That's fantastic. Look, it's not a trendy topic. In my experience, people talk about it like it's something trendy or something that it might be good to have. But we don't realize that as human beings, we are emotional creatures. Emotions are built into us, and we need to learn to control these emotions, not just for work, even for our personal lives, our relationships, right? So it's crucially important. In fact, in my this week's emailer that's going out on Saturday, I started by saying, if I had 3 years to teach a person business, I would take the first 2 years and 11 months to teach them emotional intelligence. And in the 1 month, I'll teach them business skills, because business skills are easy to teach, right? But emotional intelligence takes decades to master. How do you deal with a person who's screaming at you, or a boss who's screaming at you, and not call him an idiot? Zulfikar says, would we be able to watch those graduations? Yeah, Zulfikar, if you happen to be in an area where there is only, one or two students, then your graduation will be virtual, right? Um, for those who, but all our graduations, we will live stream them, right? So yeah, you will be able to see them. Daniel says, is there any graduation in Johannesburg? Yeah, we got quite a high number of students in Johannesburg. So definitely there will be one in Johannesburg. We still have time, guys. Ask away. Jade, I will definitely look at the JavaScript. I think it's due for a bit of a revamp now. So we'll make it a lot easier. But JavaScript is tough. I must tell you that. I found, and this is odd what I'm about to say. I found it easier to learn Java than to learn JavaScript. Although people will tell you that JavaScript is easier to learn. But again, this is some fake guru on social media that's telling you that. It's not somebody that's got experience. You see, Java is easier to learn because Java imposes rules on you. Learn those rules and comply with those rules, and you're good to go. JavaScript, on the other hand, is more like, how do I put it? It's like free form, right? Okay, let me give you an example. Let me give you an analogy. Java is like, when we were kids, we used to get this paint by numbers. You got this page where everything is, uh, you just got the outlines and they got numbers there, and they tell you um, that paint the number one in red and the number two in yellow and the other one in green, etc. So Java is like that. You have to learn those rules and you have to follow. But JavaScript is a blank slate, and they tell you draw whatever you want. Now you might think that's better, but it's not better. In coding, it's not better. It's actually more difficult that way because there are so many ways to do something that it becomes almost a decision fatigue scenario where you're not sure which direction to take. So you look at one JavaScript programmer and he's doing it in this way. For example, he's using the fetch API, and another guy is using jQuery, and so you get lost in between. But Java is standardized, and that's why there's JavaScript frameworks like React and Angular, which make JavaScript a little more like Java in a sense that they impose rules. Okay, Klein Smith says emotional intelligence helps, especially when working with teams, especially in teams in the tech world. How do you, as a CEO boss, handle working within teams? It's tough. It's tough, but it's again, emotional intelligence. It's this, that whenever things are going well, yeah, I got this analogy. As IT people, we like our acronyms. So the acronym I use is ACE, how to ace your relationships. ACE. So A is appreciation. So when things are going well, you express your appreciation, right? Relationships are like a sine wave, constant up and down, up and down, up and down. So when things are good, appreciation. When things are not so good, you go get into that person's shoes. You try to understand what is going on with this person, right? So that's empathy. And in between, there's communication. So no matter what, whether things are good or bad, you always keep the lines of communication open. So, for example, somebody was snappy at you in your team, go and communicate. Say, hey, you know what? You're a bit snappy. I just want to know why. Did I say something to upset you? I'm gonna have to go just now. Let's see. William Daniel, yes, that is my email address, Rumesa. I actually wanted to know if I could privately chat with you regarding a proposal of mine. Are you going to propose to me? I'm too old for you, probably. I'm just joking. Sorry, stupid joke. Um, uh, Regarding a sort of student rep operation, I would love to try and become a student rep and have the opportunity to visit my high school and recruit students. Wow, Rumesa, that is amazing. I would love for that. Drop me an email at bilal@itvarsity.org and request a consultation with me, and I will talk about it. And guys, I think Rumesa raises an important point here. If you guys are happy with IT Varsity, with what you're learning, the way you're learning, the whole learning experience, then tell others about it. We want to grow, right, as a business, and we would love your support and your testimonials, because that's what counts ultimately. People don't listen to us, they will listen to you. I'm grateful to every one of you for being here, for being my students, for putting your faith in us. And if you are happy, then tell the whole world. If you're not happy, tell us in the most harsh terms also, because we want to be the best. We want to be the best. We don't want to be just yet another college. Definitely email me, Rumesa. Keenan says, will our graduation be next year? Yes, your graduation will be in the first quarter of next year, because most of you will be finishing around about November, December. Best we have it in your backyard. I think Keenan's backyard, because I got a flat. I don't have a backyard, I have a veranda. Azra, if we were dealing with a boss who is rude, how do we best deal with the person without getting fired? Okay, all right. My radio guys are going to call me just now. When they call, then I will jump out. But in the meantime, we'll carry on this conversation. So look, when you're dealing with a boss who's rude, there's first of all, there's no ever any excuse for any boss to be rude to the employee. That is just unacceptable. I'll tell you why. Because your employees, your team, are not your damn slaves, right? And that's what I like to say to every boss out there. If you are a rude person, then that's your problem. Don't make it your employee's problem. Treat your employees with respect. If you can't do that, then if your boss can't do that, then you need to ask yourself, should I be working for this person here, right? If the boss happens to be rude for something that you might have done wrong, again, I'm not saying there's an excuse. I'm saying then you need to introspect and say, well, look, maybe I need to improve something over here, right? So just keep that in mind. There's nobody has any excuse for being rude. And if you've got a rude boss, maybe you should just change jobs. Tawfiq asks, is there any chance of having a hackathon? I think it would be a fun group activity and somewhere where we experience positive pressure. Also, yeah, if you look at our socials, and I'm talking about 5, 6, 7 years ago, we were big on hackathons. We used to have lots and lots. But I guess once we got into the online world, we got a bit lazy. But let me think about that. I don't know how we do a hackathon in the digital space, because I mean, you guys, like I say, are all over the world now, and more students are joining from other countries other than South Africa. Romance says, I will definitely, okay, definitely. Please send that email like now, because I'm keen to follow up on that conversation. Okay, here's the radio people just texted me. They'll call me shortly. So this is Radio Ansar. They're talking to me about, they want me to do a short 10-minute interview about technology. Azra says, my fear about getting into the working field is being employed by a nasty person. Azra, I'm not going to give you an answer to that. Why don't you give me an answer to what happens? How do you handle it before you get employed? And after you get employed, how do you handle it? You give me an answer to that. William says, thank you so much, Mr. Qatar, for today's webinar. I really appreciate the time you give us. I appreciate you guys. I truly appreciate you guys. I appreciate you guys studying with us and putting your faith in us. And I always want myself, my team, my instructors to be the best to you guys. because we're not here as a business to make money only. Yes, we want to earn a living, we want to be comfortable, but IT Varsity's core vision is to take people from zero to employed, either at a company or in your own business. That's what we want to do. And if we're not doing that, then I feel like we are not living up to our own mission. So Zulfikar says one more thing. I think, Zulfikar, you guys should have a conversation about that and give me your, let us know, let me and my team know some of your ideas around it, sort of articulate it into an email or something, and let us know. Okay, guys, unfortunately, I have to run because I see the call is coming in for my radio interview. Lovely chatting with you guys. I'll catch you again sometime soon. Thanks a lot, guys. Bye. Welcome to